A man with a gun breaks into your house and ties up your family and says that the only way they'll live is if you tell me when the golden age of South Park was. What do you say? What do you say? A YouTuber told me to start my video like that to hook the viewer. Did it work? South Park. We're doing a video on South Park, guys. It's a big deal. This is a pretty legendary show. I mean, how many TV shows can say that they've been around for 27 years and are still relevant? Plus, it's made by these guys.
It's just such a magical evening, and everyone looks so spectacular, you know?
It's a night of magic.
Now, before we get into this video on when South Park stopped being perfect, which is a pretty negative topic, I know, but let's be real, you guys are YouTube viewers, you love that stuff. I gotta be honest about something. I gotta mention my biases here. I'm a huge fan of South Park. Trey Parker and Matt Stone used to be my personal heroes. And don't get tripped up by my wording there, they're still heroes of mine. I'm just into other shit right now, you know, that's how life goes. But I've been watching this show since forever. Have you ever seen people on the internet complain about how kids who were raised on South Park grow up to be apathetic assholes? That's me. I was raised on South Park and I'm an asshole. I started watching the show back when I was like 9 years old and I've literally never stopped. I don't think it's as good as it used to be, and I think most of you guys would agree, but I still watch it because even though it's way past its prime, it's still good today. It hasn't plunged into the objectively bad television zone in the same way that Family Guy and The Simpsons have, which is very impressive. Now, some people will tell you that South Park managed to stay good because it's a show about current events, so it's always got something to make fun of, but I say that's bullshit. Because South Park hasn't always been a current events show, and everybody knows that it was at its best before they made that change. South Park's steady quality throughout the years was only possible because Trey Parker and Matt Stone are funny as f***. They've been running the show since day one, and they know exactly what they're doing when it comes to structuring a good script.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed.
These guys are brilliant, and even if you don't like South Park, which was nominated for an Oscar by the way, they've proven themselves with multiple projects at this point. The Book of Mormon, Team America, and of course let's not forget Basketball, a movie of refined culture.
How to speak San Franciscan. Hey! But join us!
But there was a time when South Park wasn't just good, it was perfect. When every season was consistently great. Just years of back-to-back good episodes. Now everyone has a different opinion on when that era ended. Some people say that it started with the new intro. Some people say it started when they switched off the rainbow credits. Some people even think it's when Kyle stopped saying that he learned something today at the end of every episode.
I've learned something today. We've learned something today. I've learned something today. But you know, I've learned something today. And there'll be a big showdown until we talk about what we learned and change everyone's minds, because I've learned something today. You just hate... See? I knew it. Yep.
I actually did a quick Google search on this just to see what other people think, and yeah, the answers are really inconsistent. I'm seeing numbers as high as season 16, claims that anything before season 8 doesn't count, which is just no. Bad internet person. We don't talk ill of the season that gave us the Mormon episode. But I want to throw my 2 cents into the ring, because I got my own take on when the South Park Golden Era ended and started. But it's also been a while since I've gone back and watched a lot of these episodes, and I'm curious if my opinions will even hold up. So here's the plan. I'm gonna figure out when the show started being perfect, then when it stopped, and I'm gonna define perfect like this. Every episode in a perfect season has to be an 8 out of 10 or higher, but each season is allowed one 7 out of 10 episode. We'll call that the dud episode. Gotta give a little leeway with these things. So basically, if 90% of your season is an 8 out of 10 or higher, and the one dud is at least a 7 out of 10, which is still a pretty decent score, I think that qualifies for a pretty perfect season. The one caveat, of course, is that the season average still has to be at least an 8 out of 10 or higher. So, now that we've laid out the ground rules, let's get nice and comfy, grab our women, lay them down by the fire, and figure out the first perfect season of South Park. So like with most shows, you know, South Park didn't start out perfect. It had to go through a period of figuring itself out first. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this before, but South Park and The Simpsons have like the exact same starting arc. Like they both start out with these bizarre first seasons that almost feel like a completely different show from what they would eventually become. The animation is rough, some of the characters sound different, and you can tell that both shows hadn't really found their voices yet. Then season 2 hits, and it's still crude, but now you're starting to get into a groove. You start to see the elements that would make up the later seasons of the show. Then with season 3, both shows have pretty much found their voice and the character personalities are more or less cemented at this point, but there are still some slight tonal differences from what would come next. But overall, the elements are pretty much in place at this point. And then finally, with season 4, you have the start of the rest of both shows. Now the episodes are largely indistinguishable from the next several seasons, and it pretty much stays that way until both shows start experimenting again in their later years. With The Simpsons, I'm a firm believer that season 4 is the first perfect season. But did South Park reach perfection a little earlier, or is it just another case of The Simpsons did it?
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
I know it's not the first 2 seasons, because when I rank those episodes, it ends up looking like this. I think they're good, but there are just way too many episodes that I feel aren't worthy of an 8 out of 10 or higher, and those weak spots kind of drag the seasons down. But on the other hand, season 2 did give us Cheddar Cheese Girl.
Oh, you're my cheddar cheese girl. You're soft but firm and you go well with wine.
Yeah, okay, fine. It doesn't make the season perfect, but you gotta admit, it's a pretty catchy song. But with season 3, that's where things start to get interesting. First of all, like I said before, this is when the South Park that we all know and love today really started to show its face. The highlights of season 3 are phenomenal. Chin Pokemon, the Rainforest, the Brown Noise, the Meteor Shower trilogy. Jubilee was the first episode of South Park that I ever watched, and I was hooked from the moment that I saw Moses.
Great and honorable Moses, what do you desire from us, your children?
I desire macaroni pictures.
I'd consider these to be some of the best episodes in all of South Park. But if I'm being honest with myself here, some of the other episodes don't hold up as well. Like the one where the boys think they're getting their period, or even the spontaneous combustion episode. They both have a lot of good moments, especially that one, but I don't know if I'd say they're 8 out of 10s for me, you know? And that would mean that the season has at least 2 duds, which would disqualify it from being perfect. But then there's the Jack-Offosaurus episode. That episode is as annoying as the character itself.
You guys know what? This one time, I was watching this rabbit, a brown rabbit.
I get that it's supposed to be like a parody of Jar Jar Binks, but anything Jar Jar just grates the ears. And with its inclusion, it makes 3 duds and takes it out of the running. Fun fact, did you know that the episode was made alongside the post-production for the South Park movie? Trey Parker said it was hell to make both at the same time, and it's one of the reasons that the episode was directed by Matt Stone. Pretty cool piece of trivia, right? Yeah, you YouTube viewers love trivia. So as much as I do want to give the season a perfect ranking just so that it isn't mirroring The Simpsons so much, I don't think I can do it, because my ranking for season 3 looks like this. And I've laid the ground rules already. There's no going back now. I've committed. By my own rules, season 3 is not perfect. And that means we're moving on to season 4. Now, season 4 is kind of like season 3 on steroids. Where 3 started to hone in on its cultural satire, 4 made it the main focus of the show. It didn't become a current event show like it is today, but the majority of the episodes started directly making fun of whatever was happening in the cultural zeitgeist at that time. You know, political correctness, ADD, boy bands, new age medicine, Sega Dreamcast, Pink Christina Aguilera monsters. It's almost like season 3 is the prototype phase of modern South Park and season 4 is the final product. Yeah, that sounds like a real video essay thing to say. My ranking for season 4 looks like this. Does it have any duds? Kind of, but only one. And that'd be the quintuplets episode, which I barely consider a dud. Otherwise, every single episode in this season is top tier South Park to me. Pretty much every episode has something that I quote from it on a semi-regular basis.
And where, pray, is this Montreal?
You'd be amazed at how often I find opportunities to say that. It's also when Cartman's character really starts to take form. He becomes more of an evil genius as opposed to just some kid who happens to be an asshole like he was in the previous seasons. Although technically he doesn't fully get there until Scott Tenorman, but you get the idea. So with that in mind, I think season 4 is the first perfect season of South Park, which makes it the start of the show's perfect run. So I'm not gonna go through every single season like I did with the first 4, because that'd take forever, and I'm a lazy YouTuber. I don't even bother to clean my desk half the time. Maybe one day I'll do a South Park seasons ranking video if you guys really want me to, but for now, I just wanna know when South Park's perfect run ended objectively. Based on my opinion. Personally, I think seasons 4 to 8 are undeniably South Park at its best. It's hilarious, the commentary is on point and way ahead of its time.
Say, Mr. Slave.
Yes, Mr. Garrison?
I had a dream last night that you were a real dick.
Really? Why would you dream that I was being an asshole?
No, I was the asshole.
Oh, that is so courageous.
What an amazing human being.
Anyways, we're just gonna jump right into season 9 and go from there. And there's a reason why I'm picking 9. Remember how I said I was raised on South Park and that I've been watching it since I was a kid? Well, I was watching South Park as the episodes aired every week. And when season 9 was coming out, that was the first time that I ever thought that South Park was slipping. Probably a controversial opinion to have these days, but back then, I guess I was a purist and I could see that South Park was starting to change, and I didn't like that. Having said that, coming back to season 9 today, it holds up way better than I was expecting. I can definitely see why I thought it was starting to change, because it was. There's a minor tonal shift that starts to happen in this season. It starts to move away from solely focusing on the kids and the town and started expanding its scope more than it ever had before. Some episodes hardly even feature any of the kids at all. This is also the season where it feels like they start to do the current event style of writing. It's not in every episode, but it's more noticeable than ever. Now, part of me wonders if that's because Matt and Trey actually came into season 9 with no ideas for any episodes, and they almost quit the show altogether because of the stress. So it's possible that the shift in writing was just their way of avoiding an issue like that from ever happening again. But I don't know if that's actually true. Season 9 is also when the shift in Randy's character starts to get more pronounced. You know how The Simpsons has jerk-ass Homer? Well, South Park has jerk-ass Randy. And I have mixed feelings about jerk-ass Randy. Sometimes he's hilarious, sometimes it's a complete miss for me, and in season 9 it's exactly that. I love him in The Losing Edge, I don't love him in Bloody Mary. But in spite of that shift, I was surprised to see that I ended up scoring the episodes way higher than I thought I would. My ranking for season 9 ended up looking like this, with the only dud being Follow That Egg, which I put at a flat 7.0. Otherwise, the season is actually pretty remarkable. The Ginger Kids and Scientology episodes are basically iconic at this point. The Losing Edge, where the kids are desperately trying to lose at baseball, is probably one of my favorite episodes ever. And overall, the season is just full of so many hilarious gags and jokes that I can't help but laugh. Kyle's dad turning into a dolphin. Cartman working as a hippie exterminator.
Oh, yeah, boy. Here, take a look at this, man.
Oh, my.
These are what we call the giggling stoners. Pretty common form of hippie, usually found in the attics.
The boy starting a talent agency.
From now on, we are an entertainment team, Token. You just do all the singing, all the performing, and all the entertaining, and leave the rest to us.
And that's just from the first 3 episodes. I could keep going, but showing that many clips would add like 10 minutes to my video. So here's a 1-second list of every joke I thought was funny. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I thought that season 8 was gonna be the last perfect season, so I'm genuinely shocked right now that we're in season 9 and the perfect run continues. Take that, Simpsons mirror, you stupid thing that I made up earlier in the video. So I guess that means I'm ranking season 10. I'm gonna be honest, my expectations are low. In the first episode of the season, The Return of Chef is a 7.5 out of 10 for me right out the gate, so they've already used their dud. But then, what the hell? This season is once again full of amazing episodes. The Warcraft episode, the Family Guy episodes, the Wii episodes, Man Bear Pig, the one with Oprah's vagina, the one with Biggie Smalls, the one where the kid has cancer and the only way Stan can save him is by winning the hockey game.
How's he doing?
Well, he isn't worse, but he isn't getting better. It's almost as if his cancer were tied.
I think that the best episodes in season 10 are possibly even better than the best episodes from season 9. But there is a conundrum. I think the road might just stop here. There are 2 episodes that I think might just go below an 8 out of 10 score. And those are Mystery of the Urinal Deuce and Miss Teacher Bangs a Boy. And these episodes are good, but somehow they feel off or low-hanging in some way. Like Cartman being Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm sure if I'd actually watched Dog the Bounty Hunter, I'd probably find these jokes a little funnier, but it's just that that type of situational comedy feels more like the modern South Park, that is still good, but not as good. On the other hand, some of those jokes are very memorable, like the Hardly Boys and their raging clothes, or everyone saying nice when they find out that Ike had sex with his teacher.
Nice. Nice.
But still, even with those great jokes, I feel like the episodes just don't hit as hard as I think they should, which means that they fall under an 8 out of 10 for me. And in combination with The Return of Chef, that's potentially 3 duds, which disqualifies 10 from being a perfect season. So therefore, in my opinion, South Park's perfect run goes from season 4 to season 9. If we're having a golden age discussion, I might include 10, but it doesn't count as a perfect season, which means I can finally end this video. Jesus Christ, how did this thing get so long? You'd think I'd have some sort of concept of brevity, but well, I'm a YouTuber. I'm not supposed to have writing skills. That's for the jobs that require talent. All right. It's conclusion time. South Park was good and still is good. Wait, do you hear that? No, seriously, I'm not trying to distract you guys. Like, I actually hear like a rumbling sound. Seriously, what the f is that? Is that what I think that is? No. I'm done here, okay? I'm not talking about another season. Screw you guys, I'm going to bed.
You're my cheddar cheese girl, you're soft but firm and you go well with wine. Oh, cheddar cheese girl, cheddar cheese girl.